Hello friends, now today we will perform the experiment, that is determination of dissolved oxygen from the given water sample. And I have already explained you a theoretical part of this experiment, that what is the aim of the experiment, what are the solutions required, what is the principle involved in the determination of dissolved oxygen, and now we are going to perform this experiment actually in the laboratory and see the demonstration now. Friends, for this particular experiment we required this BOD bottle. I have already explained to you that this is called as BOD bottle, biological oxygen demand bottle. So what is the first step in this experiment? Just you take this bottle with stopper like this. Now remove this stopper and take exactly 300, because what is the volume of this bottle? 300. Here it is written 300. So just to add the water sample, given water sample, it may be a tap water, it may be a sample from your home. Okay? Just you add the water sample up to this level. Fill the bottle completely with water sample. See this. In this way, we have taken exactly 300 ml of water sample in the BOD bottle. Now what is the next step in the procedure? Just you required a alkaline iodide azide solution. See this is alkaline iodide azide solution. Why it is alkaline? Because the solution is prepared in NaOH, not in water sample. So NaOH is present in this alkaline iodide azide reagent. So just you add only 2 ml of this solution in the water sample. So just to pipette out exactly 2 ml. So for 2 ml, just you take from 8 to 10, because this is the graduated pipette of a 10 ml. So this is 2 ml solution. So exactly from 8 to 10, you add this alkaline iodide azide solution just by dipping the tip of the pipette inside the water sample. Don't dip this that is pipette in the water sample. Just you insert a tip of the pipette and release the solution. In this way, we have added 2 ml of this alkaline iodide azide reagent, and followed by second reagent you have to add again 2 ml, that is manganese sulfate. This is manganese sulfate. So again pipette out this manganese sulfate solution and again 2 ml. In a similar way you add this solution 2 ml. Okay, and then see what is the next step. See, we have added exactly 2 ml of this 2 reagent, means total 4 ml we have added the reagents, and therefore 4 ml water will be displaced now. 4 ml water will be displaced. This is according to Archimedes principle, that equivalent volume will be displaced, because we have taken 300 ml of water sample in the bottle, but externally we have added 4 ml of solutions, that is 2 reagents, alkaline iodide azide reagent and second manganese sulfate solution, and therefore some water will be displaced now. And then you stopper this bottle like this. So again this solution will be displaced now. But this is the solution which is displaced. This is the reaction mixture which is displaced, and therefore it makes no difference on the experiment, क्योंकि अभी जो बाहर गया है वो रिएक्शन मिक्सचर है, इट इज नॉट ए केमिकल, पर्टिकुलर केमिकल, and therefore it makes no difference. Only the water sample will be reduced now by 4 ml, means it is not 300 ml now. So 300 minus 4 means it remains only 296 ml of original water sample in the bottle, and therefore during calculation we will calculate the equivalent amount of the reaction mixture that you have to take for titration. So later on I will explain you that how much you have to take. So this is the step involved in the determination of dissolved oxygen. Initially you take 300 ml of water sample, then add 2 ml of alkaline iodide azide reagent and 2 ml of manganese sulfate and stopper the bottle like this, hold this bottle like this and invert 3 to 4 times. Invert 3 to 4 times like this and keep this bottle on your table and wait for 2 minutes for the liberation of the brown color precipitate, that is of basic manganic hydroxide. It is also called as basic manganic oxide also. So this is a brown color, dense brown color precipitate that is obtained in the bottle, and it required 2 to 3 minutes, and therefore you wait for 2 to 3 minutes for the liberation of this dark brown color precipitate of basic manganic oxide or basic manganic hydroxide. And meanwhile, then you required a standard Na2H2O3 solution, standard Na2H2O3 solution for the titration, that we are going to titrate this water sample containing oxygen against Na2H2O3, and therefore meanwhile just you add this Na2H2O3 solution in the burette, keep ready this burette with Na2H2O3 solution and adjust to again 0 like this. Adjust to exactly 0. You take the lower meniscus like this and keep this burette ready with a standard Na2H2O3. Why it is called a standard solution? Because its normality is given to now, it is N by 100 means 0.01. The normality of this solution Na2H2O3 is 0.01 normal, N by 100. Now after 2 minutes, see, this is a basic manganic hydroxide or a basic manganic oxide. So this precipitate, it is formed inside the bottle now. Now what is the next step in the procedure? You remove this core, remove this stopper, and then see, you add a few drops of concentrated H2SO4. You add 7 to 8 drops of concentrated H2SO4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 like this. So you add 8 to 10 drops of concentrated sulfuric acid and again stopper the bottle like this, again hold like this and invert 3 to 4 times. Invert 3 to 4 times like this. So you will observe that this basic manganic hydroxide or oxide gets dissolved in a solution, that is water sample, after addition of concentrated H2SO4. See this, it is now dissolving in the solution like water sample, and suppose some droplets or some particles of precipitates are there, then you can add again few drops of concentrated H2SO4 like this and wait for 2 to 3 minutes for the formation of iodine in the bottle. Now in this bottle equivalent amount of iodine will be generated. Equivalent amount of iodine will be generated. And see the color of this solution, that there is a generation of iodine and the color of this iodine is yellow, because in the previous experiment we have calculated free chlorine present in the water sample in a similar way, like using iodometric titration. So in that experiment also iodine was generated and that is equivalent to chlorine, and therefore indirectly we are getting the concentration of chlorine. So in a similar way here also there is a generation of iodine in the bottle. So we are going to titrate this iodine solution now, liberated iodine solution, against hypo solution, that is Na2H2O3 solution, using again starch as an indicator. But friends, see, I have already told you that 4 ml of water was displaced during the procedure, and therefore the water sample, actual water sample remain in the bottle, it is 296 ml, and therefore this 296 ml of a water sample is representing original 300 ml of water sample, and therefore to represent that exactly 300 ml of water sample, the reaction mixture you have to take for titration is equivalent to 202.777, and that is nearly equal to 203 ml, and therefore for titration purpose, you have to take 203 ml of this solution. So how will you take this 203 ml of solution for titration? So using this cylinder of 200 ml, exactly, see here there is a mark for 200 ml, exactly here there is a mark for 200 ml, and just using this cylinder, you take exactly 200 ml of water sample, reaction mixture. See exactly this 200 ml, this is the 200 ml of reaction mixture is containing iodine, and you transfer this to conical flask because we are going to titrate it against hypo solution. So see this spread, this is a clear solution of iodine and the color of this solution is yellow, and you keep ready this hypo solution in the burette, adjust to 0 because there is no scope to take the second reading, because if you want to take the second reading then you have to perform the whole experiment again from the beginning itself, and therefore take the precaution that you are going to take only one reading, means during this one titration the same reading will be considered as the end point, and therefore go on adding drop wise this Na2H2O3 solution in this that is iodine solution using starch as an indicator. So directly with the help of this bottle you add a starch indicator. So you know that this starch reacts with iodine and it forms a blue color complex. See, this is blue color complex, I2 starch complex, and now slowly drop by drop, because there is no scope to take the second reading, and therefore you take precaution that you add drop wise this Na2H2O3 solution to this solution and titrate it against this till color changes from blue to colorless. Blue to colorless. So in this way, see there is some pinch of that is a blue color, and therefore continue the titration by adding some few drops of Na2H2O3, and now see exactly this is the end point. See here you got a colorless solution from blue to colorless, and in this way you note down this endpoint for this particular 203 ml of reaction mixture, which is representing original 200 ml of water sample. The reading comes out to be 12.5. Reading is 12.5. So in this way, you prepare the observation table like serial number, volume of water sample in ml, that is 203. So for titrating purpose we have taken 203 because it is representing original 200 ml of water sample, because 4 ml water was displaced during the procedure. This is according to Archimedes principle. So while writing in the observation table you write 203 ml, but for calculation purpose you take 200 ml of water sample. And for this particular volume of water sample, what is the volume of Na2H2O3 required? That is the burette reading, and it is 12.5 ml, and the normality of this solution is given to you, that is N/100. So it is a standard solution of Na2H2O3, and you will get only one reading for this particular 203 ml, and you cannot repeat this experiment because the solution remain in the bottle is only near about 100 ml. And therefore, if you want to take another reading, then you have to start from the beginning. You have to take the another water sample, 300 ml of water sample, and repeat the procedure. You will get another reading like this. So friends, using this 12.5 now, how to calculate the concentration of this oxygen present in the water sample? So just do the calculation like this, that it is a titration of water sample with respect to oxygen versus Na2H2O3. and therefore use this formula N1 V1 is equal to N2 V2. So N1 is the normality of the oxygen present in the water sample. V1 is the volume of oxygen taken for titration, and friends, it is 200. Don't take 203. For titration purpose you take 203, but for calculation purpose you take 200 because it is equivalent to 200. Then N2 is the normality of Na2H2O3, and the normality of Na2H2O3, that is hyposolution sodium thiosulfate solution, is given to you, that is 0.01 normal. And the volume of Na2H2O3 required for this 200 ml of water sample, that is your burette reading, it is 12.5. So 0.01 into 12.5 divided by this 200, you will get the normality of dissolved oxygen. And the normality of dissolved oxygen N1, it is found to be 0.00062 normal. So this is the normality of a dissolved oxygen present in the given water sample. And you know what is the formula of concentration? That concentration of dissolved oxygen is equal to normality of dissolved oxygen multiplied by equivalent weight of dissolved oxygen. So normality is 0.00062 and the equivalent weight of oxygen is 8. So your result will be in grams per liter. So this is in grams per liter, but friends, we want in ppm or milligrams per liter, and therefore you multiply it by 1000. So 0.00062 into 8 into 1000 milligrams per liter or ppm, because milligrams per liter and ppm is one and the same thing. So the final result after calculation is found to be 5. So what is the result? That the water sample contains, what is the result? You can write the result now. The concentration of dissolved oxygen in given water sample is found to be 5 milligram per liter or ppm. This is your final answer. So in this way, in the worksheet, directly write aim, then observation table, then calculation, and then result. So thank you.